Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I am back with another review. And today we're taking a look at from the Transformers Generation Selects line. This is DK-2, otherwise known as Guard. Guard is part of this Selects tribute to the Diacron line. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar, that was a very early 80s Toys R Us exclusive line that was brought in directly by Takara, bringing Diaclone toys to America. It did not sell well, but as we know, many of those molds a few years later would go on to be used by Hasbro in partnership with Takara to create the Transformers. And Guard is one of them. And as you can see here, this was the original paint, design, and deco of the Transformer that became known as Ironhide. And I had this guy, the original Diacron version, as a child. It wasn't until many, many years later that I realized what I had. In my youth, I never made the connection between Transformers and that toy, or the fact that it was Ironhide. So it was something special. So as you can see here, it is the Nissan Vanette. Well, based on it, like Ironhide is, in a different paint scheme, and it's in vehicle mode that I think Guard excels, because as you can see with Ironhide, there are some molded black bits that stand out like a sore thumb on Ironhide, but on Guard here blend in quite nicely. Basically, that shoulder section and the striping there. Many of the Diaclone toys were released in alternate colors based on the fact, to their real world counterparts, that, cars and trucks come in different colors. So that's why, the original Diaclone versions were red, black, and then the ambulance was white and stuff like that. So now that isn't to say there is some issues with Guard, as you can see here, whereas on Ironhide you have this gray piece that sticks out like a sore thumb, you have a red piece that sticks out like a sore thumb. That's the hinge for the windshield. But other than that, you do have some nice detailing here on the bumper. Again, color inversions. Some details are painted, some aren't. You still have the giant feet sticking out in the back. Unfortunately, there is some gappage I've noticed on this repaint. It could be due to the paint. The second, actually now this is the third use of the mold, so there is that. And it's funny I mentioned the third use. While preparing for this, there was a few things that came to mind, since, I originally reviewed Ironhide and its mold mate Ratchet. And that's number one, no version of this mold has been released at main retail. Ironhide was an Amazon exclusive in the Autobot Alliance set with Prowl. Ratchet was an Amazon exclusive in the Paradon Medic set. And Guard is a Generation Selects exclusive, which means it's I think it's like sort of a fan channel exclusive. It's, exclusive to Hasbro Pulse, online retailers. In Canada, I think these are being sold in Toys R Us, so there is that. Or GameStop. I think in both America and Canada, it's being sold in GameStop. So it's not like you can walk into a Target and get this mold, which is a shame, because, Ironhide was a classic core character. So, there is that. Now, that's about it for the vehicle mode. What we're going to do is we'll pause, and I will come back with the transformation. Because in reviewing my original review of Ironhide, I did notice that I didn't cover the transformation, and I think there's enough bits that are different that warrant a look at the adjusted transformation of this mold. All right, so we're gonna get into the transformation. Like I said, there is a bit enough different, and in fact, there was one part that I don't even think was on the original Siege mold that I want to point out here because it kind of does make a little bit of a difference. So to start, you want to come in here and pull back the windshield, and unfortunately, this doesn't sit as flush on guard as it does on Ironhide. Now, the darker color does make for a little bit of a better you don't notice the gapping, but pull that back, and then what I like to do is flare out these little bits right there. That will help give you a little bit of a wedge to get in and pry up this whole top section, which has to come off. Now, there's a few things you can do with this. First, this is where the weapon is stored. You can leave the weapon in if you'd like. Fold up these panels, bring them down, and this can go on the back. This can be used as a weaponized shield. You flip out that part, you have a cannon. Ooh. Or you can fling it around like I just did. Flip this out all the way and peg the gun in here. Nope. Actually this way. And you can have a battle platform reminiscent of the original toy. So we'll put that off to the side. Get back to Ironhide here. Excuse me, guard. I'm going to do that a couple more times, I'm sure of it. And you want to pop open these side panels. They do still hold on very nicely. Open up these back panels that are pegged into the arms. These are pegging nice and tight. And then what you can go ahead and do is angle the arms up ever so slightly, allowing you to separate the legs. And I guess at this point, make your life a little easier. Close up these panels, and just like so. Next, what you want to do is come around to what was the front of the van. Bring down that bumper section. And now, what you're going to do is pull up on the whole torso. That sounds like a... until you hear it snap. And go ahead and rotate that whole bit around until it's facing downward like so, and then push it back down into place. And it will sort of soft snap into place. Leaving all that open, separate the arms, bring them out to the side, rotate them down on the shoulders so the fists are facing forward. Flip up the head on that red panel, snap it into place, snap the back, that bumper piece back into place. And a little bit of a tricky bit here. There are tabs on the inside of the windshield that are supposed to peg in to the chest here. Slots on and pegs on the chest, and because of the dark coloring, it is a little tricky trying to get it lined up. In hand, it's not that difficult, but obviously, trying to do it like this. And yeah, it is a little tricky here, just getting it lined up. There we go. I think that's about right. And there we have Guard in its robot mode. You can come in here and give him this as a handgun. You know, this was a nice little tribute to the original weapon. And as I mentioned, you can fold this up, just like so. And this can just peg on his arm. Just like that. You can actually hold it in the hand as a, handgun like that. You want to turn it around, peg it a little higher. Works better as the shield that way. And of course, let's bring in Ironhide. And you can see the color differences. I think Ironhide works a little bit better in robot mode, but Guard's just as good. You see the same heads right there. That grim expressions. You can see where the joints share the same plastic. So you have the red here at the thighs, in the shoulders, and that head panel, whereas here it's gray and all that. Some of the paneling from vehicle mode is present on the legs of the robot mode, but really it's just the basic colors: red, black, and that's about it on Guard, and red and gray with a little bit of the black on the shoulders for Ironhide. Again, I guess because the hands were black, or that very dark gunmetal gray, and the waist piece here, that was the whole molding. Whereas on Guard, again, it works better because that all blends into the vehicle mode. So we'll give you a little spin. As you can see, I'm storing the shield on the back of Ironhide, so you do see it like that. But here you have the opening with the detailing. This was originally a siege mold, don't forget, so there are those 5mm ports. So yeah, that's about it for Guard. So we will pause, and I'll be back with my final thoughts. Guard is a very niche toy and character. Realistically, this is only going to appeal to Transformer fans that have nostalgia for the original Diacron toy, like I do, or are fans of Diaclone. And again, the nostalgia for that line as well. It is interesting that back in the day, well, I shouldn't say back in the day, because about 20 years ago there was an Encore release, e-hobby exclusive of a black Ironhide toy that again homaged that Diaclone release. So this could partner well with that. But other than that, for a lot of people, I think this is going to be their easiest way to experience the Ironhide mold. And I think in some regards they're getting the best experience because you don't have the off-coloring standing out in vehicle mode. And just through transforming this figure, I found some of the joints, especially the legs and the panels, were a little bit tighter than on Ironhide. And of course, this is going to be much cheaper than what Ironhide and especially Ratchet go for on the secondary market. I got this figure from the Command Store. It's available there. It should be shipping soon from Hasbro Pulse. As far as other retailers, I'm not sure, so you'll have to check your local retailers for availability. One thing I should mention is the box. It does come in that brown Generation Select style box, but it does also have Legacy branding on it. Doesn't really do that like turn inside out gimmick that some of the older boxes did, but it does feature the new plastic free packaging, so you might have some issues storing this figure if you choose to store it in the box. But from my point of view, I can recommend it. I enjoy the Ironhide mold, and I think Guard is a fun repaint. So that's about it for the review. If you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. While I will always appreciate the views, the likes, comments, and subscriptions, help me communicate to YouTube through their algorithms that my channel should be exalted and held upon high. If you really want to make the ultimate sign of support, I do have a Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. There's a card here in the corner and a hyperlink in the description below. All I ask for is $1 a month or $12 a year. No thrills, no tears, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you to help me help you bring figures like Guard to you. But as I always say, if you can't swing the Patreon, that's quite all right. Your views are more than thanks enough. Patreon is just a cherry on top of an already generous Sunday. So, with that being said, this is your old pal Chuck. For DK-2 Guard, we will see you next time.